Hey friends, Kelly here. Welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to walk you through one of the tags that I am creating for my little tag flip here. This is a little tag flip that I have been creating based off of the Weeds and Wildflowers devotional from Illustrated Faith, and I'll make sure to link all of that below. I also just recently did a video that talks about the little travel tote I had put together with this project, so I'll make sure to link that. But today I am going to be working from Exodus chapter 33 verse 14, and actually really I'm just kind of working from the entire book of Exodus, and more specifically Moses. So that's kind of my focus today. It's really about his doubt and his faith that he shows throughout the entire book of Exodus. So what I've got here are some printables that I grabbed from the Retro Hip Co magazine. I really loved these little slide frames, so I've printed out a few things, and I've decided I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use these as my basis. So I'm just going to get these cut up, and while I'm doing that, let me just kind of talk a little bit more about the inspiration for this tag. So I had spoke in a previous video about this project. What I'm really trying to do this summer is just document just moments that I have out in nature with God and reflecting on his creation. And so today's tag, like I said, is really based off of Moses and his experience. So if you're familiar with the book of Exodus, in the beginning of the book, once God is speaking to Moses, Moses is very hesitant. He has doubt that he'll be able to speak well to Pharaoh. And God says, trust me, I will provide for you. He'll send Aaron with, and he'll give him the words, and he'll be with him. And then he's just filled with doubt. But he perseveres, and he goes through, and he continues to trust God. And by the end of his life, truly, in Leviticus, he is full of faith in God. And so that's where I'm kind of basing this off of. So I've got my tag punched and ready to go, and now I'm just going through these little bits that I have cut from the I think here, crepe paper, magical forest. And then I also have quite a few bits from the Weeds and Wildflower devotional, and then just some of the pieces that coordinate with it that Illustrated Faith has released. And this was all, I believe, back in maybe April or May. But I'll make sure to link everything below. I'll also link that travel tote video that I did, kind of showing how I put this kit together and how I've got this set up so that I can travel with me throughout the entire summer. So here I'm just going through and I'm pulling out some of the ephemera. I've decided I really want to stick with the greens and kind of that more craft paper kind of look, that browns and a little bit of the mustardy yellow. So I'm really just kind of playing around with auditioning different pieces for this little tag. I'm not really sure how I'm going to cluster this or what I'm going to do, but I really like this little frog. I thought it was cute. And again, that's from the Magical Forest collection from Crepe Paper. And it made me kind of giggle because, while it's not funny, the plagues that God sent, it was fitting for this little tag because I'm really documenting, like I said, Moses and his experience and his wandering in the wilderness with the rest of the Israelites. So I have this little frog. I also grabbed that little, I don't know, is it a cricket, a grasshopper? Well, it made me think of the locusts that God sends as well. So I thought that was kind of funny. So here I have pulled out my watercolor crayons, and I'm going to scribble these onto this tag and grab out my water brush, and this does not go well. So right off the bat, the yellow at the top, oh, that's good. And then it just doesn't go well at all. I'm still such a newbie with these watercolor crayons. I have no idea what I'm doing. So I persevere. I try coloring over the whole thing. I get a whole lot of water on this tag, and it was just a mess. I even pulled out my little mini blow dryer, and tried to dry it, and I just realized there's just too much water on this. It's going to be really warped, and I don't really love the look that I've created. It's almost like a gray-green color going on, and it wasn't really what I had wanted. So I ditched that, and I come back with a new tag, and I'm going to try something a little different. So I've grabbed, again, a water brush, and this time I just colored a little scribble on a piece of scratch paper, got it wet so that I could kind of pull up the color and treat it like a watercolor, like a little paint pot or whatever you would call it. So this goes much, much better. So I still have quite a bit of water on there, but not nearly as much. So I'm happy with this look, but it needs a little more dimension. It needs a little more something or other. So I've gone in and I've pulled out the green and I'm doing the same thing. I'm just coloring it right onto a piece of scratch paper, dropping a bit of water on it, and I'm going to do some splattering. Now, I don't have this figured out, but, you know, I didn't make too big of a mess. You might also notice out of the corner, bottom corner there on the left, is a tiny little toddler hands. You're going to see a lot of that through this video. I have a 3-year-old and I can't be bothered with stopping every time she needs something. So I'll walk away, but sometimes I just keep moving on with my project and kind of ignore her. So she brings in all kinds of fun stuff for this video. Okay, so back into the process here. I have one of those little slide frames and I've roughed up the edges because I wanted it to kind of just have a little bit more texture. I'm trying not to use a ton of dimension on these tags. I kind of want them to be relatively flat. So I'm not using any craft foam or anything like that, but just giving it a little dimension by having multiple layers. And yeah, we had a little scrimmage over there about the water brushes. She just wanted to play with them and I said, I don't care, take them. You know, if you have any young children or you've been through young children, you know, sometimes you just have to work around them. So today was one of those days. Okay, so I'm kind of just replacing everything here, trying to decide on where I want things to go. The one great thing about a project of this size is that you don't need a lot. You can kind of work real fast, get a little project done quickly. But sometimes it becomes a little overwhelming because you're like, okay, I want to fit all of this on, but that might not be the best route to go. But yet I'm going to fit all of it on. So now I have gone into my stamps and I've pulled out my Craft Social Bible Book Nerd stamp set. And I'm just going to stamp off the verse that I'm working off of, which really is, like I said, the entire book of Exodus once I do my journaling. But to just have a jumping off point, I am using this verse, which I will read to you. So again, that is Exodus chapter 33, verse 14 says, "The Lord replied, I will personally go with you, Moses, and I will give you rest. Everything will be fine for you." So God is speaking to Moses after Moses is pleading with him that God needs to continue with them and needs to accompany them on the rest of their journey. And this is, I believe, after the golden calf incident, I think, if that's correct. So God's like, yeah, these are no longer my people. These are your people, which I just love. But Moses says, no, I have faith in you, God. I trust in you, God. So his faithfulness is rewarded. So, okay, back into the process here. So I've got my verse. I'm sorry. Even when I'm re-watching this video, those little hands are so distracting, but most of the time she's pretty cute. So I have my verse done and I've pulled out these little photo corners. I want to try to incorporate them. I think they're kind of fun. They add an extra little vintage kind of flair, which is what the photo slide makes me think of. So I'm just playing around with positioning them. And now I wanted to kind of keep everything not falling too far off the tag. And I really just had an idea going here. So what I did to make sure that I could reposition everything is I only used a little bit of adhesive to make sure that things would move around. I don't anticipate that things are going to fall out of this tag flip too often. I don't know that I'll be handling it a ton once it's all complete. And if I need to tape something else down, I will. So here I'm just going in and putting some layers behind it. I really kind of had a hard time with this little cricket. I guess we'll call it a cricket. Where to put him and that little flower, but after a while you kind of just have to stop questioning yourself and just make some decisions. So down it goes. And I loved this little bit that said wander. Again, I think that is from the Magical Forest collection from Crate Paper, and it just fits so perfectly. Like this whole portion of Exodus, or really what I'm trying to capture here, was just the fact that the Israelites were, they had to wander the wilderness for 40 years because of their sin. So wander, perfect. You might have noticed when I pulled out that little block that looks like kind of like a big eraser, I had some adhesive left over from that little Cricut that was on top of that little slide, and I just wanted to make sure to clean that up so it wouldn't stick to the tag in front of it. So that's an excellent little tool. I do believe I have that in my Kels Crafty favorites if you want to check that out. So now I've moved on to the back, and I'm going to do some journaling, and I have an idea. I want to go back. I've done this before where I've taken and I've kind of done a watercolor effect and then put one of those black and white clear stickers over it. So that's what I'm going to do again. I have a few little foliage pieces here, so I'm going to use those and just kind of offset them. So I grab out my water brush and this crayon again, and this time I used the open cover of my little box that I keep my stamp chamois in and tried using that. I also, again, wanted to put something on here so it wasn't just a plain white. So I've used the yellow this time to just kind of accent by creating some paint splatters, or tried to. They ended up leaving a bit of water in there, so I just took a piece of scrap paper, laid it down, and kind of blotted up the extra water. So then I'm going to do some stamping. I want to stamp out the words doubt and faith. And at first I just had faith that I was going to put that at the top. And then I changed my mind. So I have to go back in and pull out my stamps and retool this whole idea. I also wasn't super happy with the impression I was getting. And I think that's because of all the layers on the other side. So I grabbed a piece of felt, a really nice soft piece of felt, and that helps absorb the impression to get a little bit cleaner of a look. So that's a great thing that you could add to your toolkit if you don't already have that, is just grab a little bit of craft felt. So when I went to do the word faith, I knew that if I started the F where I had planned to do, I would run out of room, and I was right. So I started going backwards, and I was hopeful that I spelled it correctly, which, yay, I did. Now, when I go to use those stickers, I realize that it's going to kind of cover up the F, and I don't love that. So I'm thinking what I might do is just move that to a different place on the tag. However, that doesn't kind of work out either. So what I do instead is I just create a whole bunch of these random little, I don't know, watercolored grass looks. I don't know what to call that, but I was working with this and I'm kind of thinking, did I grab the wrong green? It looks different. And I realized what had happened was that I had probably still some yellow left over on my water brush from when I had done the painting before. So the colors are a little different, but it all works out in the end. I kind of want it to have this very abstract look. It's a great way to cover up sort of a mistake. So I have my doubt, my faith, I have my watercoloring. So the only other thing that I want to do is I want to add like an ampersand or a little and symbol. So I didn't have one in the alpha I'm using, which by the way is Craft Social Alpha Nerd. So I pulled out a few other stamp sets and I had a little ampersand here on this set, but it wasn't quite what I want. I want something a little bigger in the middle. So here I have this set from Illustrated Faith. It's the Kingdom Come, I'm reading it upside down, Kingdom Come Alpha from Sarah Gleason. You can probably see that there. I will go ahead and link that. I do believe they still have that in stock, and it's a great alpha. So as of right now, I do believe it's still available. So now I'm just going to go ahead and do my journaling. So I left myself lots of space here. I didn't really know quite what I was going to say, but thankfully it all worked out. Now you can see down in the left-hand corner that my toddler is bringing me a pair of underwear she wants to put on. We are in the throes of potty training and it is not going well. So friends, if you could pray for me, that would be great. That was, I believe, going to be her third pair of underwear for the day. So during this filming of this video, this actually took me about an hour and a half to get completed. And that is because I had to attend to several accidents. So yeah, it's real fun. Okay, so she's pulling out my sermon notes. She's just very busy toddler. Tag is pretty much done. I just trimmed off the edges of those stickers and that's it. It's done. aside from the fact that it took me about an hour and a half to get this completed because of distractions, it really is a very quick little project that is fun and just a great way to kind of document those moments that I'm experiencing this summer with God and His creation. So here are some close-ups of this, and yeah, I really love how this turned out. It was a fun, relaxing little project when I wasn't interrupted by, the toddler. And the other tags I've made so far have just been a lot of fun to do this. So again, thank you to Jillian from Hello Jilski for the inspiration. Well, there you go, friends. So thanks so much for tuning in and watching my video. If you liked this video, I would love for you to give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I would love for you to do that and keep coming back. And then finally hit that bell so you get notifications when new videos are posted. Well, that's all for today, friends. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.